Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode those confusing corporate filings for you. Today we're diving into a report that feels like a company trying to put a bow on a very messy situation. It's all about unwinding past deals, and let me tell you, sometimes when you try to undo something, you just create more paperwork. Stick around to see what GridAI Technologies Corp has been up to. Before we dive in, if you like getting straightforward, no-nonsense insights from official company documents, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We also have a fantastic Discord community you should definitely join. The link is in the description below. Alright, so what we have here is a Form 8K filing. Think of this as a company's shout out to the world that something significant has happened, something they need to report right away. This particular report is dated the 31st of December 2025, and it's all about a major deal being completed. The company we're looking at is GridAI Technologies Corp. Now, here is a little tidbit. They used to be known as Entero Therapeutics, Incorporated. Companies do this sometimes to reflect a change in direction or a new chapter. The important thing is that the actual legal entity is continuing, just with a new name, and presumably a new focus. They are incorporated in Delaware, a common state for businesses, and their IRS employer identification number is 46 to 4,993,860. Their stock is traded on the Nasdaq Capital Market under the ticker symbol GRDX. This is their common stock, which represents ownership in the company. Seeing this lets us know they are a publicly traded company, which means they have to be transparent with their financials and important business events. Now, let's get to the juicy part. Item 2.0, one of the Form 8K, is all about the completion of an acquisition or a disposition of assets. And in this case, it's a disposition, meaning they got rid of something. Specifically, GridAI Technologies Corp has finalized a deal to unwind a previous merger. Remember that agreement and plan of merger they entered into back in March 2024. Well, this report details how they are successfully undoing it. They had already told us they were going to do this back in March of 2025. The deal essentially involves them giving back membership interests in a company called Immuno LLC. Immuno LLC was likely acquired or brought into the company through that earlier merger. Now, after all the paperwork and legal maneuvers, Immuno LLC is no longer a subsidiary of GridAI Technologies Corp, and GridAI no longer has any stake in it. This whole process is called a transaction here, and it has been finalized. Imagine you bought something, then realized it wasn't quite right, and you are now returning it to the seller. That's essentially what GridAI is doing here. They are returning Immuno LLC to its former shareholders. This suggests that maybe the merger that brought Immuno LLC in didn't work out as planned. Or perhaps the strategic fit wasn't there. Unwinding these deals can be complex and costly, but it often means the company is trying to cut its losses or refocus on its core business. Because this deal was so significant, it means they have to provide more detailed financial information. This is where we get into the pro forma financial statements, which essentially show what the company's financial picture looks like after this disposition has happened. And that leads us to item 9.01. This section tells us what kind of financial information and exhibits are being filed along with this report. Notice that they are providing unaudited pro forma financial information. This is crucial because it gives us a clearer view of the company's financial health without the divested business. They've included a pro forma balance sheet as of the 30th of September 2025. A balance sheet is like a snapshot of a company's assets, liabilities, and equity at a specific point in time. Seeing this pro forma version helps us understand what GridAI looks like financially after the Immuno LLC part is gone. They've also provided pro forma statements of operations. These are the income statements showing revenues, expenses, and profits over a period. We get to see this for the first 9 months of 2025 and the full year of 2024. This allows us to compare the company's performance with and without the divested assets, which is incredibly useful for understanding their real ongoing business performance. Now, let's take a look at the actual numbers from these pro forma statements. We need to look at Exhibit 99.1 to get these details. Looking at the pro forma consolidated balance sheet as of the 30th of September 2025, we can see how the company's financial structure has changed. Without the specific numbers readily available in this HTML, it is hard to give exact figures, but conceptually, we're looking for how their cash, investments, debts, and overall equity have been impacted by shedding Immuno LLC. A key thing to watch for is if this disposition has significantly improved their debt to equity ratio or freed up cash that was tied up in Immuno LLC. Let's turn our attention to the pro forma statements of operations. This is where we see the actual performance of the business. For the 9 months ended the 30th of September 2025, we want to see how the revenue and profit margins look now that Immuno LLC is out of the picture. If the Divestiture business was a drag on profitability, we would expect to see improved net income margins in the pro forma statements. For instance, if Immuno LLC was losing money, its removal should boost the overall reported profit for GridAI. The comparison to the year ended the 31st of December 2024. Pro forma statement will show us if this trend is consistent year over year, for example. If the pro forma net income for 9 months of 2025 is significantly higher than the pro forma net income for the same period in 2024, it would indicate that the divestiture has had a positive impact on profitability, as expected. We are looking for a clearer picture of the core GridAI business's earning power and efficiency. And finally, the filing includes what is called an interactive data file, which is essentially an electronic version of the report that computers can read. This is for regulatory purposes to make data more accessible. So, what is the story here? GridAI Technologies Corp is essentially cleaning house. They've decided to undo a previous major transaction, specifically Divestiture Immuno LLC. This is a strategic move, likely aimed at sharpening their focus on their core operations, reducing complexity, or perhaps even disposing of an asset that wasn't performing as expected. The provision of pro forma financial statements is key because it allows us to see the company's financial health and performance as if this divestiture had always been the case. This gives investors a much clearer view of the ongoing business. Looking at this from a higher level, GridAI is taking a decisive step to reshape its business. The weakness here is the underlying need to unwind a deal, which suggests that the initial merger might not have been a success. This can sometimes signal issues with strategic decision making or due diligence. However, the strength lies in the decisive action to rectify the situation. By divesting Immuno LLC, GridAI is simplifying its structure and potentially improving its financial efficiency. The opportunity is to now focus resources and management attention on what remains, and hopefully that core business is strong and has growth potential. A key risk is that the remaining business might not be as robust as hoped, or that the cost of unwinding the deal could negatively impact their balance sheet in the short term. Ultimately, GridAI appears to be prioritizing a leaner, more focused operation. The success of this move will depend entirely on the strength and viability of the core GridAI Technologies Corp. business that remains after this transaction. It is a move towards clarity, and we'll be watching to see if this clarity translates into better financial performance going forward. Alright, that is our breakdown of GridAI Technologies Corp. Its latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Do you think unwinding deals is a sign of weakness or smart strategy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps the channel, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. And don't forget to check out our Discord community in the description for even more discussions. Thanks for watching. See you next time.